All right. I want to just say I'm at peace with decisions I'm making. Um, it's been a fun road in some way. I believe I've progressed as far as I'm going to get with the play money play trading model simulated. It's one thing to say that, well, day trading, let's just face it, it's the toughest business that you will ever do. It's because you are constantly reevaluating yourself after every trade. Every day is a new day. It's not like the dollar cost averaging way of trading in a long term at Charles Schwab with your account there, or TD Ameritrade, or at Robinhood, or any of the other things that are out there. Day trading is the single most challenging thing that I have done in my lifetime. It's the reason I in the very beginning was the ability to trade other people's money. It was much easier back in a few years ago to get to the funded account. Now it's like this ever-ending. People have called it a hamster wheel, called it you're just nothing more than hurdle jumping. Um, Everything you do here is measured, and that's okay to be measured at a certain point, and the account balances and all the things that help you, and it's helped. Honest to God, I know it's helped me as a trader get to define a little bit better as time went on, but in the end, it's still simulated trading account money that you're hoping to get into the funded account. The the rules and the parameters set by TopStep make it very difficult for anybody in to survive in there very long, and that's just a fact. And I mean, I've been doing this for many years with them since August of 2014. And hey, how you doing, Vincenzo? I've been funded 15 times, if not more, over the period of time. And I've taken money away. Actually, last 2 years, I made more at Top Step than I put in. So to me, to say I'm ready to walk away from this, I'm basically saying I'm ready to walk away from not only my affiliate income, I'm also don't like I also walk away from the funded income that I can make as well. Um, It's a good place to be at in some ways, and in other ways, it's like, what the hell are you doing, David? Um, I do not agree with some of the rule changes, and I've been quiet for the last few years about some of the rule changes that they've made. And um, this last rule change that I had no idea was even in effect. I don't know. Will you go with futures oil contracts? Most likely, that's probably what I'll end up doing at TradeStation, to be honest, because the margins are so high right now, with the highest volatility that I've ever seen in the lifetime of the contract, pretty much. Um, so I have an account open at TradeStation. I have Charles Schwab. I got other avenues that even if I wanted to go back to Interactive Brokers, I could do that as well. I mean, I got the money if I want to go ahead and do this. It's put 5 or 10,000 into account, not a problem. But the reason I chose TopStep was it is an ability, the fixed cost trading side of business, and it's still good for that. If the only thing you want to do is get better as a trader, so I'm, as much as I want to hate them, I don't. I don't hate Michael. I do not hate Top Step Trader. I do, it's just one thing after another with them. It's always this constant hurdle jumping, puddle jumping, hamster wheel chasing that you got to do to get from point A to point B. It's been like that since they started this business. They found a better way to milk some people for money, maybe, and perhaps. But let's face it, most people that get involved in trading, The best thing that you can do is that if you got involved at Top Step Trader, you figured out real quick how hard it is to make it in simulated environment. If you think it's hard to make it in a simulated environment, wait till you have your real money on the line and you have the pressure of losing a couple thousand in one trade or in a very, very short period of time. The most I lost in any given day was up over 10K. The most I've made in any one year was over six figures. So it's a trade-off, right? The trade-off that you have was you're relating to this kind of environment. Um, Most of your success stories that you find and that have you've read over as traders come from an over-leveraged trader that's been able to make a big gamble to get to a point A in their account. Very few traders are able to. Well, for instance, let's take into account the latest and greatest philosophy called the 40% consistency rule at TopStep. What is it effectively doing? It's effectively discounting your ability to trade for big wins in any given day. It's basically saying that we only want you to make this kind of money, meaning in this case $1,000, and no matter how many contracts, if one contract 100 ticks in the crude oil futures, five contracts, well, you got 20 ticks. They want you to limit the income or your tradable profit that you're making in even trade. So in other words, they want you to quote unquote swing for the singles. What they don't take into account, especially with high volatility that you see right now, is the market will swing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 and something ticks against you before it ever moves with you, regardless of whatever you put yourself in, regardless of your signal, regardless, because volatility is that great right now. The volatility of the market is greater than I've ever seen in my lifetime. When I do get started back to trading, when I open up that account, I will wait for the volatility to decrease to be able to trade my real money. Or, like you said, Vincenzo, I'll trade the micro futures to be able to take on lower margin costs, to be able to day trade, or better yet, you got ETFs, you got there's other ways that you can trade in the energy market. For instance, you can trade through Robinhood, you can trade through um, the cryptocurrencies right now. I've been killing it in the cryptocurrency market lately. So I'm still waiting for my Shiba Inu ship to come in, right? So, yeah, right now I got like 100 million. I think I've accumulated 100 million Shiba. I've sold a bunch of them off, but I've accumulated again on this last run down. And if it goes to the moon, man, I'll buy a new house. I don't know. Actually, I kid. I don't know what the hell I'd do. I certainly would be, if it ate another zero, that's some good money right there, right? Um, anyway, let's get back to the story of why I want to talk about this. I'm okay with moving on. If they approve me into the pro funded account, I will trade it. I believe that I humbly got to that point where they should move me forward. Um, Granted, they said I traded through the FOMC statement yesterday. Well, I guess if that's what you want to go with, that's the true statement. It happened. But along those lines, it was the learning of there was a new rule that I wasn't aware of, the 40% consistency target. So I got punished the day before for making $1,600 or $1,400, whatever that number was. I got punished for making too much money in my day trading account, and it pushed that threshold that I had to actually, even though I was above the $53,000 mark on the 50K account. So in other words, you needed to make 3,000 profit before 2,000 loss. So in other words, they set you up with a $50,000 account. You got to get above 53,000 normally, but not right now, before you would lose the 48,000 or the 2,000 and that would decrease behind it. Now the trailing max drawdown that follows behind it kind of screws you as well along those ways, but it's neither here or there. Um, what I've learned is better money management as a day trader. Um, but even with that, you get involved in the simulated account, you start learning the odd nuances of how you can cheat the system. And in other words, So I figured out in Top Step that I could I could let the market go above the $1,000 loss limit and still win the trading day. I could add contracts up to 5 contracts and still win the trading day. I over leveraged my simulated account. So what I did, I took advantage of what TopStep allowed me to do in step one and step two to get to the pro funded account. That's not going to help me move from stay in the pro funded account because I learned that through trial and error that hey they didn't lock me out of my account. I didn't fail by going saying WTF in one of my trading days. So I have to be more disciplined, in other words. And if I did get pro funded, I have to be extremely disciplined, like I'm always been in that. You can't allow the market to go above and beyond a certain amount. Otherwise, you get stopped out. I know for a fact the pro funded account, if that goes a $1 higher than $1,000 mark, you lose. I mean, it's over. 50K only allows you to have a weekly loss of 1,000 or a daily loss of 1,000, and the weekly loss applies, and that happens, you have to wait for the next week. But in reality, you can't get to the $1,000 because if you go to the $1,000 mark, it automatically shuts you out. So in the net effect is you can't get anywhere near the 1,000 daily loss or the 1,000 weekly loss. So there's some good things has that keeps you in the game, right? So for instance, I used to say $500 loss. It is more than I'm willing to take in any given day, and with the highest volatility I've ever seen in my lifetime, you had to push that out a little bit. So it hasn't been a good market to trade with the volatility, the historic volatility that you're seeing right now. It's a lot like it was probably in March of 2020 when the market went below zero in the futures market, right? High volatility, extreme nervousness in the market, skiddiness, and all the other stuff that goes with that. But back to the point of the 40% consistency target. What it does is it negatively impacts the way I trade because I like to go after hitting that home run because I believe that when the better you can take some of your wins, it offsets the losses, and that's the crutch that I've allowed TopStep to take from me right now. That I don't know how good my good days would be because I would be happy with say a $50, excuse me, a $500 win in a given day. Whereas opposed maybe I'm not trading before I got to TopStep, trading 2 contracts, I would take one off at the like I talked about the turtle and the hare strategy that I use, right? I take one off the hare and I'd let the other one run on the turtle side. So I have that single mentality that I'm really ready to take a single in any given trade, move the other to break even, so forth and so on. So I have that turtle mentality, I mean, excuse me, the hare mentality to get out of the trading quickly. But the increased volatility of the market really doesn't pay to have that second contract on right now because obviously the market, even in one contract right now, you watch it go against these are increasing extremely volatile movements where you see the other last week I saw a $20 move and a $15 move from high to low, and that just has never happened as far as I know in the history of the crude oil futures market. This is we're in territory that's never been seen before as far as I can as far as it relates to me as a day trader. Um, so bottom line, I know what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. Um, I still have my the apartment side of my business. I still got things that bring in income, and I got obviously working at the casino and whatnot. Um, will I? It's to be seen what happens. I punted the ball back to Mike. I said, Mike, this is where I am. I believe I did everything in my power to get um, to give one more shot at the pro funded account. I'm not willing to go over this last hurdle that they put in. I don't believe the consistency target is something that's worthwhile, and I believe that it'll be something that they'll take away in the future. They've taken things, they've added things to things, and they've taken things away. This is a hindrance. It's a hindrance that negatively impacts people that like to go for bigger wins in any given day. Because then it just, if you make a $5,000 win, just think about how much more money you'd have to make over 53,000 to get to the pro funded account. It's negatively impacting. Just saying you're limiting yourself. So in other words, they're saying, well, go ahead and take $1,000 win, but well, you can only get $1,000 loss. So the trade-off is not there. There's no trade-off when you're looking at a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 profit to loss ratio. There is no that's the problem that this consistency 40% consistency target has put in. It's thrown a wrench into the works. In other words, it's put good traders in a hole that they can't you can't go beyond a certain dollar amount, and when you do go above it, they're going to punish you for doing it. And that's what happened, in my humble opinion, as far as I'm concerned, here at TopStep. They punished me for trading well. This is Dave Knight here from 123daytrade.com. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for being here. We'll see. The continuing saga goes on. I'm okay. I'm ready to walk away. I'm good with it. I'm ready to walk. It is what it is at this point. God bless.